Hello again. I didn't expect to see you back here so soon. Did you do something with your hair? I didn't, because I don't have any hair. So before we get on to the very fun topic that is the title and thumbnail of this video, I figured I would go over some names, because a lot of people on my Twitter didn't know people that I was referring to, like what the Kiwi Farms were, or who Noel was. So let's just quickly go over some basics there. So the Kiwi Farms is a forum that discusses lol cows. Think of them in the same vein that you might think of 4chan, as far as the kinds of topics that are discussed there, and how depraved they are. And Noel is the owner and operator of the Kiwi Farms. There's also 3 distinct groups that we're going to be talking about today. There are the Watchmen, the Praetors, and an unnamed group. We'll just call them Group X from now on. The Watchmen were formed from mostly Kiwi Farms users who wanted to protect Chris and keep him safe. They became his actual friends, and they would have things like movie nights with him. I've discussed this in a prior video. MKR was a member of the Watchmen. She was a very public figure who would kind of do liaison between Chris, the Watchmen, and then the public. She talked to me a lot, and they were seen as a very positive force in Chris's life. The Praetors are a group of college-aged kids who live around Chris. They decided that they wanted to try to make a lot of money off of lol cows, so they would actually approach different lol cows before finally getting to Chris, and they offered Chris, I think using the word royalties would be too strong of a word, but basically they told Chris that they would manufacture Sonichu medallions and sell them as long as he advertised for them, and then he would get some sort of cut of the profits. They made over $6,000 doing this. Chris would tweet about them and how great these medallions were and link people to the Etsy store that they were sold on. And as far as I am aware, based on some sources, his royalties was being taken out to McDonald's and having his meal paid for by the Praetors. Don't sue me. This is alleged, but he didn't get paid. He got a meal paid for, and one of the Praetors was stringing him along, and he kind of believed that maybe he'd get with her. The third group, which is Group X, is someone that we didn't know about until 2 days ago. This is a group that contained Bella and Fiona, among a couple others, and they were also talking to Chris and friends with Chris. You see, Chris actually has 2 cell phones. One of the numbers for one of the cell phones is public information, so you can call or text Chris whenever you want. He just never answers it. The other is a secret cell phone that only a select few people know the number to. The Watchmen and Noel are some of the people who did know the number, but these members of Group X also knew that number, and so they would talk to Chris often, and again, I would call them his friends. Bella is the person who was actually on the call with Chris in the leaked audio where he admitted that he was having sex with Barb. It is believed that Bella is not her real name, although we don't know what her real name might be. There have been some leaks on the Kiwi Farms. Some of it is from investigated information that is, in my opinion, not reliable, and some of it is from leaks where someone will come out and say, I was a member of Group X, here's what really happened. I also have reason to believe that those posts are not reliable, but we will get to them when that happens. We're going to start chronologically with what happened this morning. As you know, Chris is staying at a hotel or a motel, and Reddit found it, because of course they did. So Reddit found the address of the motel. Apparently a bunch of people started calling the motel, and one person recorded their phone call with the receptionist and said, hey, do you know that you have a rapist staying there? And the motel owner said, yes, we've been in contact with the police, we know what's going on. So somebody said online that they were going to go and visit the motel. So at around 11 a.m. Eastern time, they got there, they took a picture of Chris's car, and then kind of took some video and, walked around a bit. Around noon, another person got there, and they actually live streamed what was happening. They drove around a bit, and I'm going to play some of their video now.
Okay. If you guys can see, there's the cop cars right there. Where are you doing? Sure, dude, I'm driving. There's the cop car, but Chris's car is behind me. If I can get the mirror right there, that's Chris's car. I'm not driving, I'm in the parking lot. I mean, The cop car is right there, so I mean I'm going to keep my distance. There's another car behind the like bricks. Um, Maybe he called. I mean, I don't think Chris would be calling the cops. I don't think he has.
So toward the end of their stay, they saw a cop car pull up to the motel, and we all thought that this was it, that Chris was going to get arrested. No, that's not what happened. We don't actually know what happened. The guy left, and no, Chris did not get arrested. Not yet. A couple other people were kind of following Chris around. Chris went to the mall at one point, and someone actually followed him there. They were live streaming the whole time. People just wanted to document Chris. They wanted to be all over the front pages of Reddit, and they wanted to be mentioned in all the recap videos like this one, which is why I'm not mentioning their names, because they're weens. A ween is someone who wants to get famous just on the back of Chris Chan. It's a derogatory term in the Chris community. So there may have been multiple reasons for why a cop car was there. Chris has actually been updated on Barb's condition at least once by the police, so it's possible that they were there to talk to him. It's possible that they were brought there by the motel staff because people were congregating in the parking lot and filming things, like the live streamer of this video. And we know that Chris didn't end up getting arrested, so we don't know what that policeman was doing there. So a bit later in the day, after Chris returned from the mall, Noel gave us an update on the kiwi farms. You might remember that Noel still has access to Chris's email account, meaning he can see Chris's finances. So Chris, 2 nights ago, had negative $200 in his bank account. Then he stole $750 from Barb. This meant that he had, let's see, I'm bad at math, so that means that he had $550 in his bank account. It cost $383 to stay at the motel, which means he had a remaining $167. The notification that Chris's email got, that Noel was able to see, was that Chris's bank account was at 0, which is below the minimum that you're allowed to have, meaning that Chris spent $167 at the mall in the span of a couple hours. Now, buying food for yourself is one thing. Chris did not spend $167 on food, meaning that when he only had very little money left to his name, money that he actually stole when he knows that he's about to probably be arrested while living in a motel that he needs funds to stay at, he probably bought toys. If you're new to Chris Chan, this is not surprising. Actually, if you are new to Chris Chan, I highly recommend watching my short introduction to Chris Chan video. It's a pretty good, very short 2-hour summary compared to the 60-hour summary that Gino has made. Also, Gino's series has not caught up to the present day, whereas my video has, so I highly recommend watching that. And then, if you're even more interested, you can watch Gino's, which is fantastic. Also, if you want to know about Sonichu, there's my 5-hour Sonichu video. Both of those, fantastic, great introduction to Chris. Also, if you just know a little bit about Chris, but you want to get caught up on what's going on now, you want to know the perspective of why people are interested in him, I just, again, highly recommend those 2 videos if you want something to do between now and when I will inevitably make another video tomorrow night, because we all just know that that's going to happen. So there is a YouTuber named The Ralph Retort. He used to be pretty popular back in the day, but has fallen fairly low more recently. And he and Noel do not like each other. He's one of the people that Noel and the Kiwi Farms in general just kind of makes fun of, like one of their lol cows. So after Noel dropped Chris, Ralph decided that he was going to pick up the mantle and he was going to protect Chris. But really this was just an excuse to farm views out of Chris. Again, that's called being a ween. You're weaning off of Chris's success. So he extended an offer to Chris to come and stay at his studio and give an interview. That way Chris won't have to be at the motel. But also, that way Ralph will get views for his YouTube videos. So someone associated with Ralph actually drove over to the motel and they live streamed themselves. And they wanted to catch Chris in the act of walking on his balcony, which is also what the guy in the morning was trying to do. But these guys were much more serious about it. And they ended up getting the moment, the meme, the most important thing that's happened in the last 2 days. At 6:30 local time, police showed up, escorted Chris out of his motel room, brought him to their cruiser, handcuffed him, arrested him, and drove off. And we have the whole thing on film. In fact, we can hear Chris while he's being arrested, and the people behind the camera are yelling to Chris and having a conversation with him. I'm now going to play his arrest.
Not going this?
You are.
I
You
think so.
absolutely are.
Yeah, you appear to be compliant.
Chad Sanchu, your goddess blue heart, and I continue to stand strong, and I maintain everything with quick fill in my side shoes and rose shoes and everybody.
Yeah, you're live to about 3,000 people right now, Christian.
How do you bleed?
Well, don't. You're taking everything in stride. You said you're doing good?
Yeah, I keep in good faith. Everything is going to work out.
Doing good, feeling good?
Well,
How's the last few days been? I know it's been pretty stressful.
it's been stressful, but I've taken it one moment at a time, and I got my loves.
Do you
Well,
feel
that's
like
good.
Josh Moon did you dirty?
Oh, well, that's just the one thing. That's again. Feel free. Just go ahead and take it. Just a picture of muffins from My Little Pony.
Love quest is over, Chris.
I promise I was not going to use that. It fell off my bag. I did not want to lose it. And please, I would like that in my collection.
Do you have anything else on you?
I have nothing else on me. I understand.
Listen.
I have no weed. I have no drugs. So I can sleep on me. Like I said, frisk me. There you go. That felt good.
Let's have a seat. Christine, is the merge coming?
All right.
It's happening now. We're on the very
The
last
merge,
thread.
it's happening right now, isn't it?
Right now, it is.
We're living it. The
It's
next
happening
merge
right now.
is that manager's hero.
Farewell, Christian.
The dimensional merge is happening right now. August 1st.
Well, there goes Chris Chan into the Henrico County deputy's car here.
So yeah, Chris's response to getting arrested is that everything is going to be fine, that his loves have been with him the past couple days. Those are his fictional lovers. So that would be Magi-chan, who is a Sonichu, Crizel, who is an underage Rose Chew, Sylvana, who is a Rose Chew, and Mewtwo, the Pokemon. They've been with him and keeping him comfortable the last couple days. Oh, also, Mewtwo is taking care of his pets back at home. I mean, his neighbors are also helping take care of the pets, but I'm sure Magi-chan's doing most of it. I don't know. Also, Chris said that it felt good when the cop touched his breast while checking him for weapons or drugs and stuff. Yeah. So Chris gets arrested, Ralph gets his views, everyone's happy, I mean, except for Chris. And that's really where the main crux of the story ends. We later got an update where Noel sent us Chris's mugshot and some of the more important information, like that he'll be officially charged with stuff tomorrow, or I guess today, because I'm filming this at 2 in the morning, and I have no idea at what time you guys will be watching, because I still gotta finish and edit it. Now, the main thing to keep in mind is that we do not know what Chris was arrested for. It could have been raping Barb, incest with Barb, or merely violating the protective order when he took the money out of Barb's bank account. Update, it was the incest that he was officially charged with. Okay, so that's all the updates that have, happened today, but now I'm going to fill you in on some fun backstory that is breaking news, except for it's not, because it's backstory. So this has not been shared anywhere before, and in fact, contradictory information has been leaked to the Kiwi farms. So this is the only place you're going to get this info. With that said, this comes from one single source. I have cross-referenced it with other information, but most of it comes from one source who is one step removed from most of the action going on. So take it with a grain of salt for multiple reasons. For one, they could be wrong. For two, they could be lying. For three, there could have just been misinterpretations between different parties involved. But here is the story behind the audio and Group X as far as I can tell. So Group X has several members. Bella is one of them, and Fiona is another. They are friends, and they are friends with Chris. They are both college-aged. Bella may not be Bella's real name. Fiona is unironically in love with Chris, the same way that Jacob Sockness was. On the call, it's mentioned that Chris and Fiona are in a relationship and that it started recently. I do know that they have been talking since at least before February, meaning that they were friends while she was obsessed with him, long before they entered into a relationship, and that relationship may have been very short before this whole debacle went down. So Chris has been planning on going to a My Little Pony convention for a while, and Noel was worried about Chris physically going there, because Chris was planning on driving, and it's in the state of Washington, and Chris is in Virginia, and that is a long drive, so Noel decided that he wanted Chris to fly there. It was also very likely that Jacob Sockness would be in attendance. In case you don't remember or you just don't know, Jacob Sockness is a man who has overtly stated that he wants to rape Chris, and no one wants them to be in the same room together because he is literally actually a danger to Chris. So Noel wanted there to be a group of wranglers there with Chris to make sure that he was safe while he was at the convention. So Bella and Fiona were part of this group of wranglers that were going to take Chris to the convention. The Wrangler group is not the same as Group X. It's a different group of people. The Wranglers are actually all female. As you'll remember from yesterday, Chris has been telling people like Noel and Don LaSham that he has an older girlfriend, someone he's been having sex with, who's in their over 50s. We know now that he was talking about Barb, but these people did not know that he was talking about Barb. They just thought that he was in a physical relationship with an older woman. So these Wranglers in Group X knew that Chris was in a relationship with an older woman, but they did not know that it was Barb. So they would do things like egging him on and telling him, yeah, go for it, go have your weird sex with her. But again, at that time, they did not know it was Barb. So what's moderately important to the situation is that it's very likely that Bella was a former praetor, meaning that she was actually involved with Chris before Group X formed. She was involved with the group of people who were selling medallions on Chris's behalf. So she had a very tight, close relationship with Chris there because there was money involved. So what happened is one day Chris got on a call with Bella, and they were just planning on talking about their plans for the convention. It was on that call that Chris randomly, for no reason, brought up that the woman he was dating was in fact Barbara. Bella played along on the call to get Chris to confess so that she could get it on recording, which is why she sounds so giddy in the call. She wanted him to keep talking. The call lasted several hours, but only 45 minutes of it exists. She then shared this information with everyone else in Group X, and they all decided to send it directly to the police. The group also decided that they would share 4 minutes of the audio with the public. That 4 minutes would be Chris's confession, but it would be cutting out Bella's voice so that people would not recognize her. That's what was shared with the public a few days ago. Right after it was shared, people were obviously very skeptical about it. It was Bella who shared the 4-minute audio with her own voice cut out. But because after it was shared, everyone was very distrusting of it, and people didn't believe it, Fiona got frustrated, and she leaked the 9-minute audio that included Bella's voice. So both of them were leakers, but it was Fiona who leaked the part with Bella's voice. There's a thread on Kiwi Farms talking about how Bella's voice might be modulated, how it might actually be a boy talking or something to that effect. I personally believe, based on my source, that is highly unlikely. Bella was a praetor, meaning that they would have had many conversations with Chris, and it's unlikely that they would have been able to use this voice modulation tactic for all of them, especially if Chris met them in person. I mean, it would have been easy for them to use the voice modulator every time they spoke to Chris. I just mean that the other praetors would have known, and as far as we know, that's not the case. I also find it extremely unlikely that her voice would have been edited after the fact, because according to my source, Fiona doesn't know enough about computers to have been able to do that herself, and also, the time between her deciding to leak the audio and when the audio was actually leaked is far too short for her to have done that. She became frustrated that no one was believing the 4-minute audio, and so she just went ahead and leaked the 9-minute audio herself. Fiona also didn't seem to realize just how bad the audio was, because she thought after she leaked it that she would still be going to the convention with Chris, which obviously is no longer happening. Okay, you got all that? Now throw all of that out the window. Here's the alternative theory that's currently being thrown around on the Kiwi Farms. Bella is actually a boy, and that boy is named Billy, and they're using a voice modulator. There is actually some evidence that I don't understand on the technical side that a voice modulator is being used. And Billy is hiding their voice, and Billy has been lying to Chris this whole time. Billy might actually be somebody who was already involved with Chris, like one of the Watchmen. If this is the case, it doesn't really change the story too much, except that Bella, whose name we don't know and who we know literally nothing about, isn't a girl and is a boy. Also, it's possible that they're just not going to the Brony convention, because again, only girls were going to the Brony convention with Chris. So that doesn't actually change too much of the story, except for that they were originally trying to hide their identity and that they were, I don't know, catfishing Chris. They weren't exactly trying to become his girlfriend, but they were pretending to be a girl for whatever reason. It's also possible that because they were somebody who would have already been known to Chris, like again, one of the Watchmen, one of his friends, that they wanted to change their identity so that they could have two different relationships with him. I've seen a lot of different speculation. Some are saying that the speaker is 15 years old. Some are saying that the speaker is 26 years old. There's really... those details are unknown and unimportant. What matters is the general gist of the story. Fiona really likes Chris. Perhaps they recently entered into a relationship. Fiona is friends with Bella. It was Bella who was on the call. Bella leaked the 4 minutes of audio. Fiona leaked the 9 minutes after being upset that people weren't believing the 4 minutes. Bella and Fiona were in contact with Chris and are friends with Chris and were planning on going to the Brony convention with him. Neither were known to the Watchmen when they still existed. Neither were known to Noel. It is almost certain that they are not the ones who were getting Chris to sleep with his mother, and that was entirely of his own volition, which is also within his character. At the moment, a lot is up in the air and a lot is uncertain. But at the end of the day, that kind of backstory stuff does not matter. It will eventually come out and there will be more details. What matters right now is the state of Chris. He is safe in jail for the time being, so I guess the story ends here for now. Unlike what I said last night, I guess I am planning on having a video tomorrow. It's just probably going to be a lot shorter. I don't know if a lot of information will come out while Chris is in jail, but I guess we'll see. It also goes without saying he will almost certainly have a court-appointed lawyer, seeing as he cannot afford one himself. So if you want more up-to-the-minute updates, you can follow me on Twitter at GiBi_Devon, which is spelled DEVON. I will post very important updates here on YouTube. We'll probably have a video out tomorrow night again. And for more Chris content, really, you should definitely check out the short introduction to Chris, my Sonichu video, and maybe even the Chris iceberg. That one's not laid out the same way as the other two. It's not chronological. It's more just random assortment of fun facts as opposed to being a super informative video. But between those three, you should have the general gist of everything that's going on. That way you can keep up with the story as it develops.